Did you invite me here to interrupt me, or are you going to let me?
I think you're
answer
being
the
a
question?
complete dick, if I'm honest with you.
Okay.
I do.
Well, that's very kind and respectful of you.
It wasn't intended to be kind or
I don't like the ad
respectful.
hominem attacks. I could respond in kind,
You can
but
say
I
what you
won't,
like
because
about me. I don't care.
I think that I'm above that. I'm not going to do that, Piers. That's not who I am.
I don't understand
do
why
ad
you're
hominem
playing the
attacks.
victim card when you
I don't do
yourself
personal attacks.
mentioned cancel culture.
Because
Piers Morgan destroys woke Don Lemon in this heated debate on Piers Morgan Uncensored, as Don Lemon is accusing conservatives and the right of cancel culture after the backlash to the woke left's ludicrous and insane reaction to Charlie Kirk's assassination. And Piers Morgan calls out Don Lemon's bullshit and wrecks him for it. I'll play the clip all the way through and we'll react after.
You were a victim of cancel culture at CNN.
I probably, I don't think, I look at everything as an opportunity. Probably, yes. I'm sure that I was a victim of cancel culture, but I would say mostly on the right for cancel culture.
For those who don't know what I'm talking about, this is what led to you leaving CNN. Let's take a look at the clip.
She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. I mean, it's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got another
I'm not saying
decade.
I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful about saying that.
When you watched that, Don, I happened to be watching that live, and I was like, "Whoa, what did you just say?" If you had a do-over, would you say that again? I mean, what led you to say that?
Okay, Piers, let me just say this. I'm going to answer your question, but just so the audience knows, and I hope you don't cut this out, when I asked you what subjects you wanted to talk about, you know what you said to me? You said, I want to talk to you about freedom of speech in America and the response to Charlie Kirk's death.
Yeah.
Not once did you mention that we were going to talk about CNN or whatever. So, and had I known that, I probably wouldn't have accepted this interview. You have invited me on many times, and I tell you, Piers, I know you. I would come on your show, but I don't do panels. And so when you said I'm not going to be involved in a panel, I agreed to come on your show. But I thought you would also stick by the subjects that you told me that you were going to talk about.
Just to be clear,
rather than try to ambush me with something.
Just to be clear,
so,
you and I
yes.
haven't. Well, Don, just to be clear, you and I haven't had any conversation about your appearance here. You're talking about my team talking to you.
Yeah, no, and I saw you, Piers, in a restaurant, and I said, hey, Piers, good to see you.
Yeah.
I would come on your show, but I don't do panels.
Right,
And
you're
I
not
said
on
the
a
same
panel.
thing to your bookers.
There's only one
and
of
so
you,
when
Don.
I asked you, right. Okay, and so, yes, and I said that's why I agreed to do it. But when you asked me, or when your team asked me what subjects, and I asked them 2 or 3 times, I have the text messages, what do you want to cover?
Yeah.
Not once was CNN mentioned. So I don't appreciate being ambushed. But let me answer your question since
Hang on
we're
one
here.
second. No, Don,
Okay?
Don, hang on one second. Let's just be crystal clear about what's just happened. You brought up the subject of cancel culture. I asked you, did you feel your departure from CNN was an example of that? And you answered the question. And I think it's perfectly reasonable.
And I answered the question.
Perfectly reasonable in that if you'd said to me, I don't
Piers,
want to talk about
think
it, fine.
Piers,
Sorry.
you
said what you're going to say. By the way, we don't.
Disingenuous.
Don, we don't edit.
I don't like arguing like this. I'm not going to get into an argument with you. Piers, I think that's completely disingenuous. And I think anyone watching this
What are you
will know
talking
that.
about?
And so if you will allow me, please
What are you
stop
talking
interrupting
about?
me, okay? Did you invite me here to interrupt me, or are you going to let me
I think you're
answer the
being a
question?
complete dick, if I'm honest with you.
Okay.
I do.
Well, that's very kind and respectful of you.
It wasn't intended to be kind or
I don't like the ad
respectful.
hominem attacks. I could respond in kind.
You can
but
say
I
what you
won't
like about me. I don't
think
care.
that I think that I'm above that. I'm not going to do that, Piers. That's not who I am.
I don't understand why
ad
you're
hominem
playing the
attacks.
victim card when you
I don't do
yourself
personal attacks.
mentioned cancel culture.
Because Piers, oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Let me do this.
What are you going to do?
Here we
Read
go.
out my
If you
team's
want me to do
messages
this,
to you?
Piers, it should be embarrassing. Yeah, I can read out the team messages to you because I just think it's
prepared to
completely
talk about,
unfair,
then, Don?
and you know that. I'm prepared to answer your question, and then I'm going to move on. I told you I'm prepared to talk about Charlie Kirk's death, the response to it, and cancel culture, and freedom of the press, and freedom of speech.
You were prepared to talk about
that.
cancel
But let me just
culture,
answer,
or you weren't?
No. I'm not prepared
you're not
to
prepared to
I
talk
can
about
talk
cancel
about culture, but that has, oh my God, Piers, could you stop interrupting me?
Not really. You're kind of exhausting me. It's ridiculous. Why would
All right,
you
do you-
react
do you
this
wanna
way to a
continue with
perfectly
this? Are you
normal?
gonna let me talk?
Obviously, if you mention cancel culture, obviously it's rational and logical that I would
gosh,
ask you
Piers, can
whether
you
you felt what
please-
happened to you at CNN was that. I play the clip
Piers,
and then you throw a
I've given
hissy
you
fit.
a moment. Enough. I've given you your moment.
I don't
This
want
is
a
going to go
moment.
viral. So please,
I don't want a
enough.
moment,
Yes, you do.
Don.
Otherwise, you wouldn't do this. Otherwise, you would be a respectful journalist and host, and
I
you
don't
would
think
let
I'll
me
take
talk, but you
lectures on
keep
being a
jumping
respectful
in
journalist
because
from
you
you,
want a
Don.
moment. Oh my gosh, Piers.
I won't.
I can't even hear because there's a delay, and you keep talking. And what do you want me to do? Like rip the earpiece out in the mic and run off so you have a
No,
moment?
I don't care.
Are you
You
going
do
to let me
whatever you
answer the
like.
question? Are you just going to keep pillaring me with questions?
I don't know why you've gone on this
and cutting me
weird
off
rant.
before
I don't
answer?
understand any of it. Why have you done this weird reaction? I simply asked you about whether you felt your departure from CNN was, in your eyes, an example of cancel culture. I played the clip,
Piers,
and
you're
I then
embarrassing
said,
yourself,
I then
and
said,
I tried
when you
to-
watch it back, do you
Piers,
really understand what you were saying?
This is why I don't do this, but you're embarrassing yourself, Piers.
Actually, you might be embarrassing
and
yourself,
you are-
Don.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, you might be. Have you thought of that?
Okay.
You're a journalist. You don't want to talk about a story, a massive story that involved you?
Piers, can we move on? You can let me answer the question, and then we can talk about the things that you invited me on to
Why
talk
didn't you just
about.
answer the question to start with?
And we've gotten so far away from what you wanted me to answer that we're off into la la land. So let me say something about that. The clip that you played had nothing to do with me leaving CNN, okay? And unless you know something that I don't know about me leaving CNN, then you should tell me about it. It had nothing to do. I worked there for months after that, so that had nothing to do with it. And so, and I forget the other thing that you were asking me about in that clip. But
I asked you when
anyways,
you watched the
so
clip
let's
back,
move on.
if you could explain what was going through your mind, that's all.
Thank you. I think the key phrases in that clip, if you want to be honest, and I want you to listen to it, is that I'm not saying that I believe that. That's not according to me. What I was speaking for there is how society treats women. And someone like Nikki Haley should know if women have been discriminated against for centuries. She should be more careful than to say something that discriminates against older people. That's it. And so people took that out of context. No one puts in whenever they write about it that I said, I'm not saying that. I don't believe that. I said that very clearly there. So that is not the reason that I was let go from CNN. And so again, unless you know something, then go ahead.
Well,
and tell
as
me,
you
but
know, it
that's
was
not-
widely reported that was. So
that's not what I know.
So what was the reason?
Don't believe everything you read.
What was the reason?
I don't know.
You don't know.
No.
But it all happened after that incident. You know that.
Yeah. Well, Piers, everything happens after something. I don't understand what your point is.
Well, my point is, I think it's quite newsworthy. If you say it had nothing to do with that, then it'll raise the obvious question.
I don't think it's newsworthy, Piers. That was 3 years ago.
right.
It's not newsworthy. That news means something that's new. This isn't new.
Right.
That was 3 years ago. That's
Okay,
been
but it's
all
the first-
litigated.
it's
If
the
you want
first
to find
time
out
I-
about it, you are free to be able to read the interviews that I read. You're free to read the statement that perhaps your folks should pull up the statement when I left CNN, and that can explain to you what happened. So this is nothing new.
You
It's
just
all
told me
water
you've
under
no
the bridge.
idea why you
I have
were let
moved
go.
on. I'm doing something completely different, and so that's that.
Right, but you just said you've no idea why they got rid of you.
I did.
So how do you know it wasn't to do with the clip we just played?
I just said that. I just answered your question. Now, what else do you want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about, Dom?
The subjects that you invited me on to discuss, Piers.
I thought that included free speech and everything around that.
I know you're loving this viral moment. I just think that
I
you're
don't think
yourself in
you
this
understand
moment, but
me
go
at
on.
all. I've got nothing against you at all. Never have had. I was
Piers,
perfectly.
you think I don't understand you? Piers, I worked with you for years. I know more about you probably than most people who are watching this program and a lot of the people who are working with
Right.
you.
Why would I-
worked with your staff. I inherited your staff at CNN. I know way more about you than I would care to know. I know way more about how you do business and how you approach journalism than I care to know. I have not been on anyone else's show. I don't want to be on anybody's show. I don't want to do panel shows. I don't want to argue with people about things that are inconsequential. What we should be talking about right now is how to keep what happened to Charlie Kirk from happening to anybody else. That's where the conversation should be. But instead, you're trying to get a moment. You're trying to make some news out of something. But go ahead. Have your fun. But we should be discussing something that is productive to the American people instead of you going into the garbage and trying to find something that will, give you a moment, or that you will, get a click out of it or more viewers for your program.
You sound very bitter, Dom.
Piers, are you kidding me?
No.
Bitter. I'm the happiest go lucky person ever. I'm just exposing your hypocrisy and how you lied to me about what you wanted to discuss.
I've never talked to you about this interview at all.
You don't have conversations with your producers? So your producers lied to me, or you're not that involved?
You've admitted one of the subjects we wanted to talk to you about.
You're not that involved in the editorial process of your own show, where they don't convey to you
by your own admission
what you are. What the guest is going to talk about on the
you
program.
Obviously expected
are you not that involved in the editorial process of your own show that you don't know that? Piers?
Already admitted that one of the subjects was free speech, and yet here you are getting enraged about me exercising my right to free speech to ask you a few questions.
Piers,
I think Don Lemon's fall from grace was simply the first of many, as Go Woke, Go Broke just continued to expand. And now you're seeing everyone just either losing their jobs, losing their positions. And now after Charlie Kirk's assassination, you have all of these people getting kicked out of their positions for celebrating the end of Charlie Kirk's life. And Don Lemon, in his woke insanity, has the gall to accuse the right of cancel culture of getting rid of these people. It's like this isn't cancel culture because of something you just said or something you just did. This is a moral revulsion of these people. Like, ask yourself, folks, would you want to actually work with someone like that? Would you want to work with someone who celebrates an assassination on any side to any degree? Because I wouldn't. So for simply people's safety, I mean, knowing that that person is not next to you when you're on the line or in the office, I think a lot of positions are like, no, for everyone's safety, we're getting rid of these people because they are actually committing life-ending actions. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people are actually doing the thing that they say that they're doing, that they have been threatening to do for years. So now, no, this isn't cancel culture. We're just taking you seriously. First it was you just spazzing out, going into rants and all this. But now, no, you're actually doing the things that you have been crying out that you want to do. So now, no, you get the adult gloves. Like, this isn't a joke anymore. We're taking you seriously. So for all of these people who want to complain about losing their lives because of something they said, remember, those same people are the ones who celebrated someone else losing their life because of what they said. And they thought that they ought to in the first place. So isn't it funny how karma turns around and bites you in the ass? But I don't feel bad for any of these people. And Don Lemon having a woke meltdown just because he gets called out, for the same thing, he's a hypocrite. He's a hypocrite and he's a complete lunatic. His fall from grace has truly been epic. Now he's reduced to street side interviews where, he's finally realizing that people aren't actually living in the woke bubble. I mean, it's an epic fall from grace and funny to watch. But yeah, folks, thanks for watching. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought about what Piers Morgan had to say, absolutely destroying woke lunatic Don Lemon and triggering him into this meltdown. Thanks again, like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.